Is there an aspect here, though, that if the economy starts to show real strength, that Dudley and Williams get their way, that the 4.2 trillion balance sheet issue comes back square and centre, and that there is talk of starting to run that down, which inevitably would have implications for balance sheets elsewhere, of surplus capital within the banking system, with where rates may be going. What do you think? I mean, how quickly is that going to happen?
Well, you will recall that the guidance or the words used by the FOMC to talk about the balance sheet were once normalization of interest rates once normalization is well advanced, then the FOMC would take up balance sheet issues. Is 75 to 100 basis points well advanced? Probably not quite yet, but certainly in the course of this year, it seems to me quite logical. The balance sheet comes onto the agenda. In fact, I think today we're seeing the minutes coming out, so maybe we'll see some indication in the minutes that the subject has been addressed in the last meeting. I think it's a 2017 issue. The committee's got to be deliberating about the balance sheet. It's a very complex, intricate kind of question. There are a lot of moving parts and a lot of considerations, so it won't be done quickly. But very importantly, once I think the committee has a plan, that will be well communicated to the markets, because it's important that it be well communicated.
So when you say it's a 2017 issue, do you mean an issue for discussion, an issue for debate, or an issue for action? And I'd say the other thing is, when rate hikes are well underway, there's one camp that seems to say, well, that's more about getting off the zero lower bounds, a distance away from that to avoid the asymmetries of policy at the zero lower bound, whereas others say, well, we need to have the front-end interest rates high enough to provide support to the economy in a downturn. There's probably a little difference between what those two mean. So is it just an issue for discussion this year, or is it an issue that could come up for action?
I think it's an issue for real planning this year. I think it's a reasonable assumption based on the median of the last summary of economic projections that we could see 2 more rate hikes. Some are calling for as many as 3. But I think 2 is a reasonable assumption at this point. Once the top of the range is at 150 basis points, I think that's certainly in the zone where you could begin doing some balance sheet policy adjustment. So I could see the beginning of implementation later in the year sometime.